all black, solid, stripped down to a purely utilitarian tool. Cool, rugged, you see what I got, you know what it does, I ain't afraid to use it. Don't test me when I got my Glock.
Back and forward, let's go. Jab, there you go. I mean, put it back, jab, put it back, jab. There you go. That's what I'm talking about, do it again.
To be a gangbanger and to not have a gun is just like a barber without clippers. So gun grows hand in hand. You can't be in a gang without a gun because this gun is, if you can't fight, but if you can fight, this gun is bigger than life. This gun is what puts you on top and puts you above everybody else, especially if you know what to do with it.
Go. 1, 2, 3.
I always wanted to be a drug dealer because my life was so poor, and the drug dealers and the pimps and the hustlers would ride down the street with the pretty cars.
Good job, AJ. Yes, sir. No, hey, hit the block.
So as a youth, it's something like, it was a life. Like, it was more than what I ever had. So that's exactly what I want to do. That's what I wanted to be.
1, 2. 1, 2.
Some people say guns don't kill people, people kill people. I talked to a guy who recently had a very interesting argument. He said there's a demon living in this pistol.
My thing with the gun, when I shot, I don't know about this demon, but I got high. I mean, your adrenaline comes up so high, it's like floating. When you're shooting behind that gun, waka, 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 waka. You can't even you really don't even realize what you're doing. It's almost if you smoke some leaf, smoke some PCP or something, just for that split second or whatever, how long you got. You get high. And the more you get high, it becomes an addiction. And that's one of the worst addictions I could have probably ever picked up, was the addiction of shooting a gun.
Stand assess, holster. Turn to the left, turn to the left. On threat, we're gonna step forward with our left foot. Shooter ready. Ready. Threat. Stand assess, holster.
Every day I carry a Glock 19, and that gun is actually feels to me like an extension of my body. I carry it regularly, and without it on, I feel naked. It's so comfortable to me to have it on and know that it's there. And I've carried for so long that without it, it just feels uncomfortable. Sometimes, even when I would sit down on the couch next to my husband, he would wrap his arm around me and say, "You still have your gun on?" And I'm like, I forget that it's there because it's always there. It's there 24 hours a day.
Now over top with your hand, just like I showed you. You don't want to put your pinkies near this ejection port because it'll pinch you.
Come back here?
Yep, and push and pull and let it go.
Push what?
Push the receiver.
Push this?
The receiver, the lower part of the gun, and pull the slide. Let it go. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, now it's loaded.
Okay.
It's round chambered.
Uh-huh.
All right, get that hand high on the back strap.
Okay.
Now, don't try to look for those sights with your head. You're doing that.
Okay.
Extend your arms out. Bend at the waist. Lock your arms. Bring them in. All right, now bring the gun to your eyes.
I believe that the handgun levels the playing field between a 5'2" woman who weighs 115 pounds against a man that's 300 pounds and on drugs of some sort, and his intention is to rape or kill or maim her. That levels the playing field. It gives her that empowerment to know that she can stop him from doing that. Whenever you're ready, just put pressure, pressure, pressure. Focus only on the green dot and put pressure on the trigger until it breaks.
finger off the trigger. Relax your gun and bring it into your body and look at your target.
Okay. That's not so good, is it?
What?
Yes, it is.
You're in the red dot.
Okay.
I had an 82-year-old lady who was a student of mine, and when her husband passed away, she had always had her dog to alert her if someone came to the door. And when her dog passed away, she decided that she didn't want to get another dog because she wanted to go travel a little bit. So instead of getting another dog, she wanted to learn how to shoot a gun. And I asked her if she would like to just try to shoot my Glock. And she said, if you think that I can do it, then I'll give it a try. And she immediately went and bought a Glock, and she keeps it by her bedstand and carries it in her glove box in her center console when she travels, and she feels safe again. And that's a great feeling for me to know that here this lady is, frail and elderly, doesn't feel like she can protect herself, and now she can.
Yeah, I think Glock began to look at the American market in the 1980s, about the mid-1980s, and then by the early 1990s had established itself as quite successful. Glock targeted law enforcement in the United States, and they targeted law enforcement successfully. They were able to persuade law enforcement agencies increasingly that they should have high-capacity semi-automatic pistols, which were a better firearm for law enforcement purposes than the old-fashioned revolver. Well, once you've sold a gun to a law enforcement agency, the gun itself can last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But that's not what a manufacturer wants to do. They want to sell more guns. So in order to do that, Glock then began to sell semi-automatic pistols in higher calibers. It was a cycle of lethality. In other words, the police would have them, criminals would have them, then the police would say, well, we need a bigger caliber to deal with the criminals, so it's an endless spiral. I don't think Glock ever really thought that selling to law enforcement is the end game of their marketing. The end game of their marketing is the much larger civilian population.
Can you give us a little tour of the guns in your house?
Okay.
The places how you store them?
We'll show you one first safe. It's a little unorganized at the moment, but we have everything locked up. There's probably 40 to 50 guns in the safe. There's another one. This safe is also a little unorganized, but it has a lot of my father's hunting weapons in it. This is one of the safes that I keep my handguns in. There's probably 50 to 60 guns in this safe also. Especially, I like when different manufacturers do designs on different stuff. Like this one's labeled with Thunder and Lightning. And I also like the 25th anniversary. I like collecting the different models that nobody else has.
So how many Glocks do you own?
Oh, that's a good question. About 18 Glocks. 18 different models.
Oh, she did that
Finger
easy.
straight. Some people do it different.
Ready?
Whatever you are, put your green dot right in the middle of your front sight and focus on, right in the middle of the target, and focus on your front sight. Slow and perfect.
So can you explain to me what it means?
Well, it's a picture of a Glock in front of our Constitution. And the significance, of course, is our Second Amendment. The purpose the Second Amendment was created for was to protect us from the government. And that's why our Constitution starts with we the people, not we the subjects or we the government. It starts with we the people. And part of, before they would ratify the Constitution, they created the Bill of Rights, giving us, number one, our freedom of speech and religion, and then number two, our right to bear arms. And it was to protect us from tyranny. And so the picture of the Glock in front of the Bill of Rights, that's its total significance.
Do you think it's necessary to have something to protect yourself with?
Yeah, I believe it's everybody's right to have something to protect themselves with. I mean, if you didn't have something to protect yourself with, why? What's the point, you know, is somebody going in and threatening you, what's the point of continuing on with your life? You'd always be afraid of, okay, this person said they were going to hurt me, so I'm not going to, go to this place anymore, I'm not going to go to that place anymore. Or if you have a means to defend yourself, if, the situation arises, it's best to be able to defend yourself. Everybody has the right to defend themselves. I'd rather have the gun and not need it. It gives you not necessarily a sense of sort of like a sense of less fear. Like I know in situations like when I go on vacation to other states, there's always that paranoia of, I know I don't have a gun, so I am extremely cautious about the area. Like I won't go to certain areas that I know there was crime or anything like that. I'll definitely avoid them, almost like avoiding a plague, I choose to avoid those situations.
Jab, jab. Good job. Do it again. Do it again. 1, 2, 4. 4. You know what happened when you're going so fast? This is what you're starting to do. Your hands going like this. I want you to do it. 1, turn them. 2, turn them. 3, turn them. 4, turn them.
1, 2.
Back.
1, 2.
Back.
1, 2.
Forward.
1, 2.
Forward.
1, 2.
Forward.
1, 2.
Back.
1, 2.
Back.
1, 2.
Back.
1, 2.
Back.
When you have a poverty-stricken community, comes desperation.
Forward. Forward.
Desperation for survival.
Take. Right here.
Some people call this Chirac because of the capacity of the violence. It's compared to Iraq. So Chicago is basically known as Chirac because of its war zone.
You can see me? Oh my God,
People prey on each other. That's what the drug selling is all about. preying off your own people, killing people off. But like I said, if you don't know better, how can you do better? Well, I lost my friend to gun violence. It was 1996. This was my best friend. You know, me and him he moved here when I was in 3rd grade. And we've been like this with those same vice lord laws that we followed. That was us. You know, our minds were for the same cause. Everything we did, that was like a part of me. As he was standing out there while they were selling drugs. And he had a gun on him at the time. And somebody came from behind him, shot him in the head, shot him in the neck, his heart, just multiple times, just shot his body up. He never made it to C-20. That's what made me realize that life wasn't a game. Human life was to be valued. At the same time, we were also part of the violence because Walter was a hard, crook criminal, and I was too. And I'm crying tears. Walter can never come back. And something was just telling me to kill every person that you can possibly think of. But then I'm saying, that's a lot of people. We had many enemies. And right before I was about to get up, I just heard a voice. It was telling me, no, put the gun down. And I was like, am I tripping? It's like, put the gun down. I just started crying even more. I said, I can't. It's like, you can. I can't, you can. I can't, you can. And it's like I felt something touch my shoulders as I was crying. He was saying, everything is gonna be all right.
Chicago, 4. Juli 2015, Independence Day. Jahr für Jahr zählt der amerikanische Unabhängigkeitstag zu den blutigsten Ereignissen auf den Straßen Chicagos. Die Schusswaffenbilanz dieser Nacht? Innerhalb von 8 Stunden 10 Tote, 55 Verletzte. Auf beiden Seiten des Gesetzes greift man zur selben Waffe.
This is a 40 caliber Glock, model 23, generation 4, 40 caliber with a 12-round magazine. There's a 19, 9mm Glock.
So this is also a popular police gun, no?
Oh yes, this is real popular. Almost, I'd say 60% of the Chicago Police Department have it, and all new people coming on the police department have this gun. And it's a selling point for the manufacturer. Hey, police, army, everybody use it. And then some guy in the street says, hey, well, police, army use it. Well, I want to be the, police and army too.
So normally at this point I make a joke that this must be good news because there's a lot of people standing up here. But that couldn't be it's the furthest thing from the truth. We come here today outraged and saddened by the amount of gun violence that has plagued our city, particularly over the last 24 hours. And again, taken the life of another innocent child. While we normally wait until the conclusion of a weekend to release official enforcement statistics, I felt compelled to call you all together here now to explain to you what the Chicago Police Department and our community is up against and how aggressively we are fighting this problem. Every one of these firearms is an armed confrontation with a criminal. Every one of these firearms puts our officers and the community in danger. Maybe we'll take another 10,000 guns off the street, and another 10,000 will fill up that illegal market the next day.
So what's the problem, you think?
Well, what's the problem? Come on, you know the answer. You know all the answers to that. You know the answers to that. This is about the gun lobby.
That's my first one. My baby is 7 years old. 7. He had plans. He wanted to be somebody. And one person took that away from me. I don't know where to go.
There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus. To break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. I hear the chains, I hear the chains falling. I hear the chains falling. Let me go, let me go. I hear the chains falling. I hear the chains falling.
Stop the violence! 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 Stop the Start to fire, yeah. All my blood is in there.
Die Glock-Pistole, wie sie nach ihrem Konstrukteur benannt wird, ist eine 18-schüssige Selbstladepistole mit Kaliber 9 mm. In Schusstests hat sich die neue Armeepistole als schneller und treffsicherer als jede andere Faustfeuerwaffe erwiesen. Auch auf Sicherheit wurde bei der Waffenkonstruktion großer Wert gelegt. Hergestellt wird die Kunststoffpistole in einem kleinen Betrieb in Deutsch-Wagram. Vom Chef bis zur Putzfrau arbeiten nur 20 Leute in der Firma. Erzeugt wurden dort bisher Maschinengewehrgurte, Feldspaten, übrigens auch aus Kunststoff, und Kampfmesser für das Bundesheer und für den privaten Gebrauch. Rahmen, Griffstück und Abzug und andere wichtige Teile der Glockpistole sind aus Kunststoff. Nur der Lauf und das Verschlussstück der in weniger als einer Minute zerlegbaren Pistole sind aus gehärtetem Stahl. Aufsehen erregt hat die neuartige Waffenkonstruktion auch in der internationalen und österreichischen Presse. Die Glockpistole wird als Superpistole und waffentechnische Sensation aus Österreich bezeichnet. Das österreichische Bundesheer, noch ausgerüstet mit Pistolen aus dem Zweiten Weltkrieg, der deutschen P38 und der amerikanischen Colt-Pistole, ist an der neuen Waffe sehr interessiert. Von der Armee ist bereits ein erster Auftrag über 25.000 Stück ausgeschrieben. Anfang Oktober fällt die Entscheidung. Zivile Sammler und Schützen werden sich allerdings noch gedulden müssen. Die Glockpistole wird erst im Frühjahr 1983 im Handel erhältlich sein.
Ist das generell ein Thema, dass eine international bekannte Rüstungsfirma hier ihren Sitz hat?
Aus meiner Wahrnehmung her nein. Nein. Auch die wissen, dass es hier eine Firma Glock gibt, die, glaube ich, reflektieren nicht, dass es ein Weltrüstungskonzern ist eigentlich. Ja. Das ist kein Thema.
Also die Garage in Deutsch-Wagram, die ist ja unter Waffenfans in Amerika zum Beispiel so ein richtiger Kultort.
Habe ich noch nie gehört.
Der Ort,
nein,
wo
ja.
die Waffe
ja.
1981
ja.
erfunden worden ist, aber hier ist das kein Thema.
Nein. Kein Thema. Definitiv kein Thema.
Ist die Firma jetzt als Arbeitgeber wichtig für die Region?
Ja, ja. Das ist möglicherweise auch ein Punkt, warum man nicht viel nachdenkt oder nicht darüber spricht. Arbeitsplätze sind notwendig, extrem notwendig. Wir haben gerade auch in unserem Bezirk eine steigende Arbeitslosigkeit. Jeder ist froh, wenn er einen Job hat. Und es ist ja nicht so, jetzt gehe ich einmal davon aus, ich war nie im Betrieb drinnen, dass man selbst jetzt eine Glocke, eine Waffe produziert, sondern man produziert eben einen Teil. Ja, also das sind diese einzelnen Sektorenabschnitte, das stelle ich mir so vor und da überlegt man nicht lange. Ja, wichtig ist, dass am Monatsende Geld überwiesen wird und das regelmäßig und das ist es. Das Tor da ist hinten meist offen. Ich weiß nicht, ob das nicht eine Zufahrtsstraße ist, weil dort die Straße zur S1 erst vor kurzem saniert oder überhaupt asphaltiert worden ist. Und da sieht man rein, ob da jetzt Teile für die Produktion angeliefert werden und Teile abgeliefert werden, das weiß ich nicht. Aber das ist Zugang zur Firma Glock, auf alle Fälle. Und das ist jetzt der jüdische Friedhof, der seit den ewigen Zeiten schon in Deutsch-Wagram besteht. Und der jüdische Friedhof ist jetzt eingefriedet mit den Betonmauern von der Firma Glock, die das ganze Gelände da gekauft hat. Angeblich gibt es auch eine Vereinbarung, dass die Firma Glock den jüdischen Friedhof pflegt. Inwieweit das jetzt ein Gerücht ist, weiß ich nicht. Fakt ist, dass der Friedhof nicht gepflegt wird. Und das ist ein Armutszeugnis für die Gemeinde. Das ist Geschichte. Ja. Geschichte, die Waffen, der jüdische Friedhof. Und kein Mensch weiß was, kein Mensch redet darüber, jeder verdrängt es.
Die Recherchen in Österreich gestalten sich schwierig. Eine Interviewanfrage an Gaston Glock wird abgelehnt. Das Unternehmen ist zu keiner Stellungnahme bereit. Alle Mitarbeiter unterliegen der Schweigepflicht. Niemand, der Erfahrungen mit dem Unternehmen gemacht hat, ist bereit, vor meine Kamera zu treten. Im Tierpark Schönbrunn stoße ich auf Gaston Glocks Namen. Er ist der Pate des Totenkopfäffchens. Paul, you were a corporate lawyer at Glock?
Yes.
What would you have done to people like us going around asking tricky questions about the company?
You wouldn't have gotten anywhere near the company. It's as simple as that. You wouldn't have gotten near the company, and you wouldn't have gotten on the floor of the SHOT Show.
Not even a no comment.
No, yeah, I mean, chances are you wouldn't have gotten a lot of information.
What was the policy of Glock towards journalists in Austria?
Well, I know they never spoke to him, but if somebody did have the audacity to report the news, you know, their policy was quite simple. If his name appeared in print, they got sued.
Paul Giannuso begann seine Karriere 1991 als Firmenanwalt und stieg später zum CEO von Glock USA auf. Das Wirtschaftsmagazin Bloomberg bezeichnete ihn einst als die Verkörperung der amerikanischen Waffenindustrie. Unter seiner Führung entwickelte sich Glock von einem kleinen österreichischen Importeur zum Marktführer für Handfeuerwaffen in den USA.
You know, I helped to shape Glock's image without a doubt. You know, you don't have to be Einstein to figure out that to the anti-gunners, being a law enforcement equipment company is more palatable to their sensibilities than being a firearms company. Same thing, but if you can cast yourself as a law enforcement equipment company, then you're on the side of, you know, righteousness and good, as opposed to being a big, bad, evil gun company.
In Central Texas, scenes from a massacre, the deadliest mass shooting in American history. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. A man went on a bloody rampage in Central Texas today. He drove a truck into a cafeteria, opened fire on the crowd inside, and then committed suicide.
The first time Glock was ever used in a mass shooting, to my knowledge anyway, was in Killeen, Texas. And there was a guy that walked into a cafe, a diner, whatever, in Killeen, Texas. And I don't know how many people he shot, but a lot. And usually the company would have hidden from that. And this was really, I think this was about 4 months after I got there, so I was still getting my feet wet. But instead of hiding from the news, you know, my recommendation to the company at that point in time was to get in front of it. And I called a buddy of mine who's a media specialist, and we set up a press conference to talk to the press about what happened, and to, like I said, to try to get in front of it. But the reality is, you know, as horrible as it may sound, people see that, and once they look past the horrific circumstances, the next thing apparently that occurs to them is that it worked. So it, as you know, it's not the kind of marketing anybody wants, but unfortunately it works.
Paul Giannuso wurde wenige Monate vor diesem Interview aus dem Gefängnis entlassen. 2009 wurde er verurteilt, Geld von Glock unterschlagen zu haben. Er entzog sich seiner Festnahme durch eine Flucht nach Mexiko und wurde schlussendlich in den Niederlanden festgenommen. Nach mehr als 4 Jahren in Haft wurde das Urteil wegen Verfahrensfehlern revidiert. Giannuso sieht sich als Opfer einer Verschwörung und klagt jetzt Glock.
When I left Gaston Glock and the Glock Company on February 3rd, 2003, it wasn't exactly a textbook-style termination. You know, definitely not one that Dale Carnegie would recommend in one of his courses. It was a huge argument. It was right after the SHOT Show that I had mentioned before, and I was not particularly happy with him. So I called him up and told him I was going to meet him at his house before he came into the office that day. And I drove over, and I quit, and I told him why I was quitting. Basically told him he disgusted me. And he went and got a gun. I could hear him load it in his room before he came back in, and it was stuck in his belt. Part of our argument was I told him if he touched his pistol again, I was going to shove it so far up his ass he was going to blow his tonsils off. And, you know, that was my termination. Not good. But on top of that, I had the fact that I knew way too much, because when we did the investigation for Glock into his trustee, we uncovered what can only be described as massive tax fraud to the tune of, I think, at least $80 million, potentially $100 million, that he had siphoned off the worldwide corporation via shell corporations and phony bills and money laundering. So there's 2 strikes. The third strike was that I was dating Monica and eventually married her, and he had been pursuing her since 1995. And then number 4, you know, it was almost de rigueur in Glock. It's like the mafia. You can join, but it's a capital offense to leave.
Gaston Glock, the man behind the gun. Who owns a Glock? You guys? A lot of you watching the channel own a Glock, want a Glock, or have shot a Glock in the past. Boy, this gun has changed the firearm industry in a huge way for the better. And I gotta tell you, this video is all about Gaston Glock, the man, and the history behind how he created the empire that we now know as Glock. Gaston's still alive right now, doing real well. He's 83. He's got a 31-year-old wife. We're going to talk about that. She's smoking hot. But did you guys realize that in 1999, someone tried messing with Gaston? And you don't mess with Gaston Glock. His best friend, his business associate, messed with him. You know what he did? He tried to have Gaston assassinated.
Haben Sie mit ihm gesprochen? Hat's nicht so mit der Presse. Na. Wie hoch sind Sie denn versichert, wenn jetzt die Klagen kommen? Denn das ist doch Standardprozedere. Wenn der Name fällt, wird geklagt. Naja. Ja, es war eine Partnerschaft. Aber die Gerichtsurteile sagen ja das Gegenteil.
Sie werden ja nur als Trustee bezeichnet.
Von ihm?
Von ihm, ja.
Ja.
Aber effektiv haben Sie 15 Jahre im Aufbau des Imperium Glocks gearbeitet.
Mhm. Und nicht nur am Aufbau, ich habe es auch mitgeleitet. Das heißt, ich war 3-mal im Monat in Wien oder in Klagenfurt. Bei jedem größeren Problem. Herr Evert, Sie sind der Einzige, der Ihnen das beibringen kann. Alle schlechten Nachrichten durfte ich dann überbringen, weil er konnte mich ja nicht feuern. Das war schon bekannt. Also.
Wie hat sich Ihr Verhältnis über die Jahre verändert? Sie haben sich kennengelernt, als die Waffe noch...
Das Verhältnis war eigentlich immer gleich und gut. Das hat sich verändert an diesem Hammerschlagtag.
Eine Parkgarage in Luxemburg. Hier treffen am 27. Juli 1999 3 Männer aufeinander. Gaston Glock, Erfinder und Geschäftsmann. Sein Treuhänder Charles Evert, Spitzname Panama Charlie. und der ehemalige französische Fallschirmjäger und Profi-Wrestler Jacques Pecheur, Kampfname Spartacus. Diese Begegnung führte zum Bekanntwerden des Finanznetzwerks der Firma Glock. Und sie ist Ausgangspunkt einer umfangreichen Legendenbildung. Haben Sie versucht, Gaston Glock umzubringen?
Hätte ich jemand umbringen wollen, wäre es nicht mit einem Gummihammer in meinem Beisein geschehen. Ich meine, für so intelligent können Sie mich halten. Ich hätte wahrscheinlich irgendwo mit 5 Notaren auf einer Terrasse gesessen als Zeuge und er wäre irgendwo in Lateinamerika aus dem Wasser gezogen worden. Ich weiß es nicht. Aber ich meine, das ist einfach nicht meine Art. Ich meine, Sie können sagen, ein Scheißkerl, er säuft oder er scheißt die Leute oder macht hier oder da, wäscht Geld, egal was. Aber Mord, das glaubt Ihnen kein Mensch.
So Charles Everett and Gaston Glock on the 27th July 1999, they arrived by car coming from the airport. They came down this ramp and Charles Everett stopped his car, asked Gaston Glock to come out of the car and went backwards to park next to the wall. So Gaston Glock was out first. Charles Everett came out and they both went in the direction of the staircase to get upstairs. So Charles took out his key and put the key in the keyhole. At that moment, Gaston Glock saw a nice collection car, a Morgan, and said to Charles, I believe this is your car, isn't it? Or your new car? And Charles said yes. And then Gaston Glock, by himself, by his own initiative, went in the direction of that car and started looking at it. And at that moment, Jacques Pecheur arrived. One thing is for sure, Pecheur came from here. He had a hammer made of plastic in his hand, the kind of hammer you use for tiling. When the attack started, Charles Everett got scared, immediately pushed open the door with his key, called the lift, realized that the lift was busy and was not coming down, so he decided to run up the stairs, run out that door, and called his office. His secretary answered. He told her, call the police, Gaston Glock is being attacked. We have one witness who arrived on the crime scene after those 15 minutes, and he found Pecheur on top of Glock. But Glock did have the plastic hammer in his hand, and Pecheur was holding his hand. While Gaston Glock was laying on his bed at the hospital, he asked for the bankers to come, Mr. Rouch and Mr. Maurer, and he immediately asked for his briefcase, asked for the banker to look in his briefcase. There were power of attorneys in order to operate on the bank accounts of Reofin and other various offshore companies, and immediately instructions were given to empty some of those bank accounts. He tried to empty all, but one of the power of attorneys was not drafted properly, so one of the bank accounts was not emptied that day.
So just a few hours after the attack, a lot of money was transferred?
Yes.
How much?
We're talking about at least 35 million US dollars.
Charles Everett galt als Pionier im Errichten von Briefkastenfirmen in Steueroasen. Gaston Glock kontaktierte ihn erstmals 1985. Er brauchte Hilfe bei der Expansion seiner Pistolenfirma.
Wie mache ich ein Venture ohne Geld? Dadurch, dass man Instrumente, die es gibt, die heute in Verruf geraten. Damals, mein Luxemburg ist damit groß geworden, dass man Eigenkapital schafft aus noch nicht gezahlten Steuern. Naja. Und die dann reinvestiert. Denn das ist im Prinzip die Erfolgsstory. Das Problem ist ja, der Kuchen war nie geteilt. Sonst wären die Probleme ja nie gekommen. Hätte er einen Anteil gehabt und ich meinen Anteil, dann wäre ja nichts da gewesen. Aber ich meine, es war ein Topf. Und in dem Topf haben wir uns beide bedient.
Wie groß war der Topf?
Oh, groß. Also wir konnten da locker einen Jet kaufen.
Gibt es eine Zahl circa?
Ein dreistelliger Millionenbetrag. Mehr ist da nicht zu sagen.
Aber hätten Sie nicht die Kontrolle über 70, 80 Millionen Dollar auf Bankkonten gehabt, wenn Gaston Glock an diesem Tag gestorben wäre?
Die hatte ich sowieso. Die hatte ich doch sowieso.
Zum Zeitpunkt dieses Interviews ist Charles Evert bereits seit 13 Jahren inhaftiert. Er wurde verurteilt, einen Mordanschlag auf Gaston Glock in Auftrag gegeben zu haben. Auch Charles Evert sieht sich als Opfer einer Verschwörung.
Wenn Sie plötzlich Gaston Glock über den Weg laufen würden, hätten Sie mir etwas zu ihm sagen?
Nein. Aber eine Geste. Es wäre auch ein Message, aber um zu sagen, man könnte ihn ja zum Beispiel mit einer 22er umlegen, nur um ihm zu zeigen, dass es auch mit kleinem Kaliber geht. Was er ja nicht sich vorstellen kann. Er weiß ja nicht, wie der Mossad das gemacht hat mit den Leuten von dem Attentat München 72. Die wurden alle liquidiert mit 22er. Sie brauchen nur etwas, sie brauchen hervorragende Schützen. Aber es macht keinen Krach. 22er mit Schalllampe, mehr nicht. Und in einer Straße, wenn Sie jemanden auf den Bürgersteig in der Kärntner Straße von hinten ins Genick schießen, das hat keiner gehört. Oder sehe ich das falsch? Na, aber wir werden uns nicht mehr begegnen, glaube ich nicht.
Felden am Wörthersee. Hier, am Ende des Regenbogens, wohnt Gaston Glock. Die Steueraffäre rund um Panama Charlie verebbte, als der Steuerakt von Wien nach Klagenfurt überstellt wurde. Der damalige Landeshauptmann Jörg Haider ergriff öffentlich Partei für Gaston Glock. In Treffen am Ossiacher See betreibt er das Glock Horse Performance Center, wo die weltweit exklusivsten Events im Pferdereitsport stattfinden. Pressefotos zeigen den Ingenieur mit Gästen wie Chuck Norris, Mariah Carey und Jean-Claude Van Damme. In den Pausen der Dressurveranstaltung werden Schecks an karitative Einrichtungen vergeben. Glock spendet für behinderte Kinder, für syrische Kriegsflüchtlinge, für Kärntner in Not. Am meisten spendet Glock für Tiere. Zu Gaston Glocks Geburtstag wird Robbie Williams eingeflogen, um dem Erfinder sein Lieblingslied zu singen. My Way von Frank Sinatra. Do you have flashbacks?
Every day. Flashbacks is a common, natural courtesy of my brain. It comes and goes, sometimes more, sometimes less, but it's always there. To many, this is not a gorgeous view. To me, it's the best. But open water ahead of you, and then you see the lights. Every light is a thought. You turn into a pattern. But this is my relaxation, my beauty, should I say. I come out here whenever and just sit down and relax or release my stress, because if I'm looking at the water, I could go over there and I could work out. I play handball, there's a basketball court, I could run around. This is actually like a small track, so you can run around as well. This is, at nighttime, a personal time. Yeah, normally I don't bring people out here. I don't want to be with nobody. I prefer being left alone when I'm thinking or I'm in a state of mind where I deem myself unfit to be around other people or mentally unstable, should I say. And then I come here for a couple hours and I go back like it was a normal day. Short and simple. In September of 2002, I was shipped out to Kentucky for my training as a scout, as infantry, as a tank driver. We had different kinds of weapons that were being set up and transferred around, so we had to test them. After about 3 or 4 months of all this special training, already in my head, I already had it set that I was going over for war. Picked up the phone, called my wife, my family, said, I'm leaving. I just want to say goodbye, I love you guys, in case you don't hear from me ever again, you know, stuff like that. We were originally supposed to come in through Turkey, but we came in through Baghdad. I got attached to a Special Force unit and a Green Beret unit to run the blacklist. December 13th of 2003, Adwar, Iraq, Operation Red Dawn. We've been working on missions on blacklist guys. Our missions were well detailed, a little bit of going out for several days and several nights, overwatching locations to where these guys on the blacklist was, especially number one was Saddam Hussein. On this particular night, we were supposed to raid the area in Adwar where Saddam was. Now, there was, once again, no real guarantee he was actually there because our intel, as we watched, we didn't see much of anybody coming in and out. We noticed the size of the hole, the gap there was. We had to pick the thinnest guy to be able to go in there, but the one with the senior ranking, which wasn't me either way. But unfortunately, commander comes over, you, crews, you're gonna go in, take off your flak vest, make sure the guys are watching. I jump into the hole, followed by one of the other guys. Saddam Hussein was already stunned in the corner. He was holding his AK-47 in his hand, and on the bed, he had a Glock there. Everybody was trying to get their hands on this Glock. Whatever trophy was caught from his capture was gonna go to the president who put us out in Iraq. That was a guarantee. So whatever was brought back from Saddam that was gonna be personal was gonna go to George W. Bush. And when we got back to Texas, they had the ceremony where he was receiving the Glock.
We will not tire. We will not falter. Tonight we are a country awakened to danger and called to defend freedom. I think about the families, the children, who carried out yesterday against our country. They were acts of war.
So the visitor just got done learning all about the creation of the Patriot Act, the creation of the Department of Homeland Security, Iraq's first democratic election, and now they get to learn about the Bush Doctrine. The Bush Doctrine is simply 4 ideals that completely describe why we are fighting the global war on terrorism. Take the fight to the enemy. Make no distinction between terrorists and the nations that harbor them. Confront threats before they fully emerge, and advance freedom. Right there, those 4 thoughts completely summarize what this entire portion of the museum is all about. Advancing freedom, spreading democracy, fighting terror. Simply put in 4 different statements. Now, when the visitor's in this section, there's an artifact that they may not even know exists. So when they come through here, they see this big glass stanchion. They notice the giant arrow, they notice the shield, they notice the poster, and then all of a sudden, right there in the middle of the stanchion, there's a Glock. Now, they're not quite sure who the Glock belongs to, so they start to read and they notice that this was the pistol that Saddam Hussein had on his person when Special Forces captured him in that spider hole. Of course, after they detained him, they took that pistol, they framed it, and they said, "Mr. President, right here, you have Saddam Hussein's 9mm Glock." We put it on display. Why do we put artifacts like this on display? Well, this is an important part of the narrative. This symbolizes the point where Iraq was underneath the thumb of a dictator and now had the opportunity to become a democratic nation. While some may only see it as a Glock, this is one of the most important historical artifacts that we have because of the symbolism.
Our government will be on full alert.
Here's some pictures that I have. Here's the original of that one. When I first came back to see my child and everybody else on R&R, everybody thought I was locked up for a long time, that I was on crack or I was dying because of how skinny I was. I went from being a 200+ pound guy that lifted weights and played football to being 125 pounds. So that was that struggle. You see the colorations on my hand and stuff from sandstorms and burns from fires and RPG attacks. No memories. And goes the bastard there. On the bottom of this, captured Saddam Hussein, 13 December 2003 in Agdar, Iraq. It's definitely a day you don't forget. And I have other things, archives and stuff like that. I left all that stuff in Jersey and Presidential Award. Garbage. All this paper, like I keep telling people, all these papers is just garbage. It's a waste of trees. It's a waste of trees. So you guys still got factories out there building these weapons? How rapid are they doing it, you know?
I think every few minutes. I mean, it takes only probably a few minutes to make a clock. It's made out of plastic.
Yeah.
So doesn't cost anything.
It'll cost you your life eventually. Remember that one. Nothing in this world is free. That's what who was I telling that yesterday too? They're like, no, but it's free. It's like, nothing in this world is free. No matter how you look at it, it could be handed. You could have found it some way, somehow. You're gonna pay in return for it. In my true, honest words, karma is a bitch. I've lived it. I've done wrong things, and wrong things have been done to me. I live by this. Karma will come back around and bite you. And it might not be as soon as you think, but it's definitely gonna catch up to you.
(9/11) und der darauf folgende War on Terror führten zu einem Goldrausch in der Rüstungsindustrie. Nach der amerikanischen Invasion im Irak wurden die irakischen Sicherheitskräfte aufgelöst. Die Polizisten verließen ihre Posten mitsamt ihren Waffen. Die amerikanische Übergangsregierung bestellte zur Bewaffnung der neuen irakischen Sicherheitskräfte Glock-Pistolen in Österreich. Der Deal war umstritten. Darf ein neutrales Land Waffen in Kriegsgebiete liefern? Glock drohte mit dem Abzug der Produktion aus Österreich, sollte der Export nicht genehmigt werden. Das Wirtschaftsministerium lenkte ein, genehmigte die Waffenlieferungen und argumentierte, Waffenlieferungen werden im Einklang mit dem Außenhandelsgesetz nur dann genehmigt, wenn kein Grund zur Annahme besteht, dass die Waffen an Terroristen weitergegeben werden.
لا بس المسدس لا وإذا شرح على الكليب على الشوازير خلنا مشط نسميه مش شوف المسدس هيك بيدك حتى يبين تقول لك احنا نستخدمه هنا نشاط اكبر يسال شيء وهو يسال تجاوب يعني خليه يسال مختصر كلمه حتى هم حضرتك
استلمناه بالبدايه 2004 دربونا عليه الامريكان مركز تدريب سلاح جيد فعال حديث ما كان عندنا قبل من هاي ودربنا عليها وعلى مثلا شلون تنظيفها واستخدامها زين ورمينا عليها ميدان الرمي هواية طلقات رمينا يعني على وجبات. بس مع الأسف يعني الكمية قليلة. مثلا كل وحدة ايش قد عنده من رجال الشرطة لازم كل واحد يحمل له شنو؟ سلاح. مسدس، هذا يسموه مسدس شخصي لازم وياه يصير. اما البندقية فبندقية يستخدمها للأغراض مثلا القتال. فاحنا عندنا هسه البنادق كاملة كلهم عندهم بنادق. بس شنو؟ مسدسات عندنا نقص. مثلا احنا عندنا ملاكنا 750 هسه انا عندي 100 فقط.
Does he have some information whether ISIS is using Glocks as well?
حضرتك عندك معلومات اذا داعش يستخدم او عنده بحوزته يعني مسدسات جلوك يعني محصل عليه خلينا نقول؟
يقدر يحصل انه اكو مكانات ينباع بها. ينباع الجلوك يقدر يحصل.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could, get Glocks because there are some places that they could sell Glocks and it's easy to get.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear brothers, especially brothers and also sisters, we're in the land of jihad at the moment with a Glock 19. Yeah? Most of you Playboy guys ain't seen this yet. We've got a box of ammunition from our so-called brothers, the Free Syrian Army. What we've come to do here is what's prescribed to us as Muslim men. So while you're sitting down on the corner, on a block, chasing that squiller, chasing that honey that walks past, with the low batties on, with your hands down your trousers, getting semis, we're busting semis, akhi. But the reality is, and wallahi, I ask Allah to keep us sincere on this path and keep us firm. Where are you when the women are calling in the jails getting raped by these dirty kuffars? Where are you when we need to start taking heads off? So like I said, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to keep us sincere in the land of jihad. But I also invite you all over to the land of jihad. Allahu Akbar!
كلوك هي تشي ام4 هي او شانزكي هي عد نوعيش كي زانتر بو ل 2006 وحود اما بدوانزا قلاو استبس قلا بس بلام تماح ما خصوته بر اواني او بروكا لحبي جوله تكريت ولولان لو انا بدو 15 سيانزو صاردي اما زياتري بيدين بس بيتو امبر عتي جيشي قلت لسيزر لكلوك لانفور لو انا كوتا دز منالو طوال هر منالك بين ششق لما يبيبو لي ما نقريبا باري بوليس اللي بغات تعين ابو ماويك وازينا هنا ضمان سكيه برد اي فروش لهمان كاتا اتشو وازي للشرطه هنا دائما ويك تعين ابو همسان كلوك كي ورا كده ابو بو بيشك خوش واي اوش بو فساد لوزاري داخليه ابو اللي الشرطه وازي يعني بلا حقيقه قانونيه ناكل ضمان سكيه
Maybe you start doing this, you bring Glocks from Austria and we sell it here. Like, it would be nice to get a permit, an international permit, be a weapon supplier for those conflicted areas, so I'll be the master of the war. This is a lot of money to supply, like the Peshmerga forensic, to supply them with weapons, you make a lot of money. I know you know who makes the Glocks. You could talk to them to get me a permit.
يعني حاليا يعني بلي هر العيشة مدني بوخوتها قالت ايه إجازة بمندن بس بونادن مثلا.
It's like I know you might not be able to get a permit from them to be a weapon supplier.
أتواني أو للرجاي أو وسيط
maybe you could talk to them, get me a permit, then we'd be partners. There's a lot of money in that, and I'll make sure it won't get in the wrong hands.
Go.
Glock begann seine Produktion in den 80er Jahren mit 1000 Stück pro Monat. Mittlerweile verlassen 34.000 Pistolen wöchentlich diese Fabrik. Das sind mehr als 1,5 Millionen Waffen jährlich, die nicht in falsche Hände geraten sollen. Die Nachfrage steigt. Auch Österreich verzeichnet seit 2015 einen sprunghaften Anstieg des privaten Waffenbesitzes. Die steigende Nachfrage lässt Glock, wie sie im Firmenbericht verlautbaren, sehr zuversichtlich in die Zukunft blicken.